Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are at. What we're going to talk today is about the law of the lid. Have you ever reached what felt like was an invisible ceiling where you were trying to create something, achieve something, do something, and you just hit this point where it seemed like you just couldn't break through? Like you knew that there was this higher level, but for some reason it was holding you back. Or maybe, how is it that regular people like you and me create these massive companies that impact thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives? How is it that people like you and me become quote unquote influencers and impact hundreds of thousands of lives and people around them or who watch them? How is it that people like you and me create impact and reach those levels? John Maxwell says the higher that you want to climb, the more you need leadership. The greater impact you want to make, the greater your influence needs to be. Welcome to Mentor Mornings, guys, where I talk about or I share wisdom from people much wiser than myself in order to help you fuel your journey and own your day. Please, if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button if you appreciate this video, share it with somebody who could benefit from it, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that little subscribe button so you can get more Mentor Mornings every morning. So what John is talking about here, he's talking about leadership. He's talking about two things, really. He's talking about the greater impact that we can make, and he's talking about climbing higher. And these are goals that, a lot of us are searching for. Some of us are happy where we're at. We don't need to worry about this. Or maybe we want to reach that next level, whether it's inside of our own lives, it's inside of a company. It depends on where we're at. And so, what would your life look like if you could have 10% more impact? If you could make 10% greater impact? What would your life look like if you achieved or you grew 10% more? You hit that next level, 10% higher. And who would you impact, really? That's a big question. If you reach that level, who would you impact? What would you achieve? What would that look like inside of your life if you grew 10% more? So John says that success is in reach of nearly everybody. Nearly everyone can achieve a level of success. But he also talks about something called the law of the lid, which we'll talk about here for a minute. But let's just back up for a second. If you could take your leadership ability and put it onto a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, where would you rate yourself in your leadership ability? Where would you be? So this law of the lid that John talks about is basically says that our level of effectiveness or success inside of life, inside of business, in our impact that we create is determined by our leadership ability. So if we look at ourselves on that scale, and let's say that we're at a 6, our level of effectiveness or impact is going to be at a 5. And any long-term growth or impact or success is going to require an equivalent or greater level of leadership ability. So as we're at this place, let's say our leadership is at 6, our impact is going to be 5. If we can learn to raise our leadership ability, then we can raise our impact, our success, and our achievement. And so developing our leadership ability is possible. Leadership is not something that is stagnant. Some of us come into this world with more natural talent and ability for leadership than other people. Some of us have to work really hard to develop our ability. And there are aspects maybe that are holding us back. So the effectiveness of an organization is based upon the leadership. And if leadership isn't at a level that supports the organization's goals or achievements, then that's typically why we see organizations bring in new leadership. If the leadership that's guiding the company or the captain of the ship is not knowledgeable enough to be able to navigate the waves, to be able to navigate the rough waters, they're going to bring in a new captain to find a way through to point. And so for failing organizations, that's pretty easy to see. But as an entrepreneur, that's a really hard pill to swallow sometimes. Because when we don't reach our goals, when we fail, we have to be able to look internally and say, I wasn't up to par as a leader. And what typically happens, what stops people from doing that, is playing the victim. It's saying it was the markets, It was the outside circumstances. It was my employees. It was, whatever. And, like, there's no doubt that sometimes we run into some rough waters when we're navigating life as an entrepreneur or a creator, or, all these different places. So what is it that we need to develop our leadership and to be able to take advantage of failure? Well, failure needs discipline. It's discipline to hold ourselves accountable. It's discipline to accept that we were not as good as we would have liked to have been. It's discipline to be able to look at that failure and learn from it. It's discipline to be able to implement what we learned from our failure after we sat down and took that time. So it takes conscious focus to be able to sit down and explore the failure, where we could have done better, how we can apply that next time if we were to face the situation again. What would we do? Thomas Edison said, "I've not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." What if Thomas Edison would have quit at number 1,000? He would have never gotten to the 10,000 failures that led to the light bulb. So learning every time that we fall on our face, it means making that painful experience valuable inside of our lives. Every time we run into failure or something painful in our life, we have the opportunity to turn that thing into fuel to take us to that next level of satisfaction or achievement or success inside of our life. And so the process of conscious focus, and to blow it off as bad luck, to blow it off and say that we were the victim of circumstance, is to give away our power to grow. It's to give away our opportunity to grow as a leader. And so the biggest thing, if you were to take one thing away from this whole thing, I would hope that you would recognize the fact that leadership ability, while it can take us to that level, whatever level we want to go, leadership ability is not something that is locked in. It's something that's developed. And just because a person has failed inside of their life, they've met an obstacle that they were not able to overcome, does not mean that that is the end point. That does not mean that that's the stopping point. It could be the beginning. It could be the opportunity that takes you to where you want to get to. Sometimes failure is a gift. So, do you have the discipline, the humility, the curiosity, and the hunger to develop your natural leadership abilities and take that to the next level so that you can achieve the impact or grow to that next level that you're looking for? And if so, guys, grab the PDF down below inside the description, because it talks about the leadership principles, the strategies that leaders from our past put into place in order to create impact and have the success that they were looking for. That's what it's all about. If you appreciate this video, please hit the thumbs up, share it with somebody that you think it could help, and subscribe if you are not already. And I will see you tomorrow on Mentor Mornings. Rise unconquered.